กลับเข้าสู่ช่วงที่ 2 ของรายการ Money Forum ค่ะในช่วงนี้มาติดตามกับงานสัมมนาที่เป็นความเห็นระหว่างผู้เชี่ยวชาญทางด้านของบัญชีไทยนะคะไม่ว่าจะเป็นผู้จัดทำบัญชีผู้ตรวจสอบบัญชีรวมไปถึงการจัดการบริหารความเสี่ยงและผู้ทรงคุณวุฒิจากมหาวิทยาลัยที่จะมาพูดถึงประเด็นที่นักบัญชีไทยนั้นต้องเตรียมตัวและปรับตัวอย่างไรในการทำงานอนาคตที่ถูกแทนที่ด้วยระบบคอมพิวเตอร์มากยิ่งขึ้นค่ะ
Today we have heard a lot, since this morning about the digital economy, how it will affect our professions. Today I'm so delighted to take this part as the moderator on the panel discussions. We have now 4 practitioners in our accountancy professions who will come and share their views in terms of how it will affect, the digital economy will affect us and how are we going to prepare for it, okay? So we're not going to scare you off by, it's coming and, some of us might be like, okay, so what do we do now? I hope, all my panelists will come and share with you how do we get ready for this, okay? All right, so let me introduce our panelists. The first one, Ms. Sirirat Chotivechagan, President of the Association of Certified Thai Accounting Practices. Thank you. And second to my left, Dr. Yawarak Chatbanchachai, Partner of Information Technology, Risk and Assurance, EY Thailand. And the third panelist on the stage, Ms. Waruni Pidanan. Pidanan. Partner, Governance, Risk and Internal Audit Services, PricewaterhouseCoopers. And the most handsome panelist on the stage, because he's the only one man here. Okay, so let's welcome Associate Professor Dr. Kriengkai Bunlet Uthai, Secretary of Technology and Education Committee at FAP Thailand, and he is a faculty member of Faculty of Commerce and Accountancy, Chulalongkorn University. You can hear 4 of them are here just to share their view, and also I hope, I see that there are some of foreigners, our fellows from other countries, but most of us are Thai. I think, this is a very good chance for you to take a note and see, how we just gonna go out from this room and make some changes to our professions. Let's get started. I will divide our discussion into 3 parts. The first part will be the impact. We want to know what are the trends, in each professions, and also what the skill needed. Since this morning, you have heard so many times that we need to develop this, we need to do that, we have to change this and that. And it's actually, I think it's come to the point that we need to change some skills. So we will talk about this, what skills are needed, and how we're going to change it, or what to be improved. That is, the third part will be preparing for the change. Okay, so the changes are here. Our previous speaker said, let's face it, you can't run away. Okay, so we have to face it, we have to embrace it, and we have to make sure to develop our professions. Okay, there will be 3 parts that we will discuss today, and I hope I will have time for you to ask some questions. This is the first time for me also that they asked me to use a tablet, and they said, if you ask questions, you will ask some question, and it will come right through my tablet. So let's start the digital economy together today. All right, the first question that I will ask them, since all of them are from different fields, accountants, internal audit, and financial auditor, and also educator, yes. So then we want to hear each of them on my question that I'm gonna ask now, okay? So the first question would be, there are trends. Yes, we talk about trends, a lot of trends, but for accountant, what are the major trends that you see at this moment for accountant in terms of the digital economy that's come into, impact our professions?
Okay, thank you. For me, for the accountant and even accounting firm, what we can see for the trend is cloud accounting, and then the data automation. And the last thing will be the e-payment system of the government.
People talk a lot about prompt pay. We got the first question about prompt pay now. Okay, so that's you think there's a most
Yes.
impact to the accountants, right? When you talked about cloud computing, I think the first question that come into even my mind is about the security.
Yes.
Right, so I hope Dr. Yavalak, maybe you can share some of the trends that you think is very important to you, for the financial auditor, and perhaps just some light on the security of the cloud computing.
Okay. In terms of the answer to this question, let's summarize it into two ways. One perspective is like from our practice as the external auditor and IT security consultant. What we see in the market, we see some change lately. For example, some company that approach us is like very small company, but the service that they offer is like payment hub. How can a small company like that offer payment services? How they come up with capital so that they can provide the service? The underlying infrastructure that they use to provide the service is like they use cloud computing, maybe infrastructure as a service or software as a service. You have to imagine now, you are the auditor of this company. How you gonna audit? May say like revenue recognition for this type of company. That's the challenge for the external audit. From the IT security standpoint, when a company provides a service such as online payment, one of the regulators that's gonna play the role is the Bank of Thailand. So the entrepreneur have to understand what is the requirement of Bank of Thailand in order to provide this type of service. A few months ago, you may saw from a newspaper that one company, a Thai company, offer some kind of crowdfunding. And in the middle of the event, the SEC said, no. You cannot provide that type of crowdfunding for Thai customer. I don't know what is the case right now, but at that time, it's the risk of the entrepreneur. If you do not understand the local regulatory requirement and you go for the technology without that awareness, it's your risk. So from the customer standpoint, the technology comes to take advantage of that. You have to understand the other environment, like what is the regulatory requirement in the environment that you're going to operate on. From the financial audit standpoint, you cannot just consult the gas and the gap because those are not prescribed in the standard yet.
Thank you. It's getting so intense now. There's so many changes. Even me making a role here, I feel like, wow, that's, one from accountants and then from the financial auditors. There's so many things, the different changes that we are facing and also the trend. The trend, we're talking about the trend now, that means something is coming, right? And then how we're going to accept it. So let's hear from Kun Waruni. As internal auditor, what do you see, what trends, in digital economy that you see that could perhaps give benefit or give some negative effects to our professions?
Right. Okay. Thank you very much. I will answer my questions in two roles of responsibilities. First, I'm the preparer because I'm the chairperson of the accounting system subcommittee at the Federation of Accountants at Thailand. And another role of responsibility is the partner who provide internal audit service to companies. So I have two ways of looking. One, as a preparer on behalf of you, to be the accountant who receive the impact from the change of the digital economy, and another way as the internal auditor who does the audit of the accounting systems. Okay. But whatever role that we can see that there are a lot of changes in the process of accounting system in order to provide reliable financial statements. What changes that we can see, I will group it into 3 categories. The first one, data. Data will be captured, stored, and accessed in large volume and easier to access than before, right? Because there are so kinds of technologies like the Kun Sirirat and Dr. Yavalak mentioned, mobile, online, social media, cloud. Those are the tools and technologies that can provide a lot of access, easier to capture more data from the accounting system. The second type is about the interaction. When the technology comes, there are less interaction between people, right? Then you can observe that when the accountant has to prepare the financial statements, in order to talk to other departments a lot, as you did in the past, you just get information from technology, process to process. The third one is about the technology, mobile, online, prompt pay, e-payment. Those are technologies that impact to the business. And what impact to the business always impact to the accounting system and the way internal auditor has to do the audit of the system as well. So in the first round, I just raise concerns on this point.
Thank you very much. So you have covered 3 big areas in digital economy: the data, the interaction, and until the last one is financial technology. Those 3 of them are very, very important. And like you said, it affects the customer and also affect our professions. Let's hear from the educator, Dr. Griengai. Please share with us what trend do you think is very important? I think you teach students, right? We're talking about the system, the education system. Just forget about it, how good or updated. But I think at this point, the most important thing is what are the trends and how the educator like yourself see what's coming and what to be changed or what to be done.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think there will be a lot of changes. And then I would like to talk as an educator. So I think I accepted all the changes. I think at accounting we have to prepare our students to deal with all the changes. And let's look at the.
You have some presentation for this one. Okay, let's take a look.
So you can see, for all the trends, this is based on the CFO innovation. And they said, there will be so many, changes. For example, everything will be mobile, big data, cybersecurity, education, cloud, payment system, virtual reality, digital service, delivery social. So many things, and you can talk with other sources. But I think for us to incorporate all the changes to the classroom, so let me propose, so we have to adapt a lot. So there will be a lot of changes. Before we talk that, it should be one way for the classroom, and then we normally focus on knowledge. But I think nowadays we have to talk more, both knowledge and skills, and then competencies. So to serve all of these changes, for example, how we can teach our students to deal with e-business, how we can teach our students to deal with digital process, because maybe like this morning they said no debit and no credit, and we can see a lot more for digital process. So how can we train our students? So I would like to just give to you the new. So we talk about the 21st century in many aspects, and one of them is about the 21st century classroom. So how can we prepare our classroom? It's not one way anymore. It can be, for example, 2 ways, a lot of interaction, and how can we bring those, how can we take advantages of those technologies to our teachers, to our students, and then we can get something we call the education 3.0. How can we teach our students and they get more creativity or innovation? So we would like to incorporate so many skills not only knowledge. For example, creativity skill, critical thinking, communication, collaboration. There are so many. And the way we teach will be different. Before we just based on lecture, right? But now we call it the new technology, they just call it the flipped classroom. So you have to ask your student to prepare before coming to the class. And then teacher, not as a teacher anymore. So you have to act as you are facilitator. Raise a question, and then ask your student to get the answer by themselves, learn by themselves also. So more of discussion in the classroom rather than like 80% lecture. And the other one is project-based, the same thing. Start from the question. We don't give the solutions, but students have to research by themselves, try to get a solution, and then do their homework by themselves and share with them. Yeah. So we have to change our role from an expert to become like a facilitator. Yeah, and then the same thing. So I think we'll just stop here. I think one thing we have to change ourselves.
Thank you. I just want to take you back when you were in school, when you studied accounting. I'm sure it was so much different than what Dr. Kiengai was explaining just right now. I remember when I was teaching accounting student, we had to go, don't make a lot of jokes because they don't like jokes. They just want to get the content and just want to get A from the class. So I think what you have explained, it will help a lot in terms of improving the education. I'm not saying that the way that we were taught was not good, but since the time changed and the new digital economy played the most important role at this point, so then we have to change. I'm just curious, just only Chulalongkorn apply this, or have you heard any other university try using this model?
I think it should be all, I guess, because now we are talking about how can we prepare, produce global citizen. And then part of the global citizen, that we talk a lot is about the lifelong learning. And then we talk about a lot of skills. So I think all universities are preparing, their students to be a global citizen.
That's very nice to hear. Okay, then we talk about the one already graduated from, the different system. We'll talk about this, about us later. You mentioned about knowledge and skill. Before we were focusing on knowledge, right? And now you're talking about skills that's very important, which actually it's good because the second part of our discussion, we will talk about the skills that we need. Okay, let's still stick on the first part of the discussion, which is about the impact on our professions. I want, each of the panelists share with us on the advantages that they think the digital economy will help us. Let's look at the bright side first. What are the advantages?
Okay, the advantage first from the cloud accounting. The advantage is that we can work from anywhere, we can work anytime, and we can work any place, even you on the beach, you can work, right? And also the data automation. This will save your time. For accountant, we ever proud that we prepare document, we do coding, we do data entry, but now you don't need to do. The machine will do for you. Okay, and for the e-payment that we talk about, this will drive the growing of small business. And this is expand for the market of accounting firm. That's the advantage I can see.
Thank you. When you say the machine will do for us, do customer needs us still? Or do we use the machine?
We have to change our role from low labor intensive to we have to be like consultant, specialist, something like that. If you don't change, you will be out of this profession.
Oh, that's scary. Okay, we will come to the scary part later. Okay, but that is a very good point. Okay, I will remember that. If I don't remember, just remind me. Okay, I will ask you again about if we don't change, what's gonna happen. But just now, let's look at the bright sides. Okay, so Dr. Yawalak,
I'm not sure this.
advantages. You have to come up with something beautiful so they don't look so sad like this.
It's a bright side on us, right? But I'm not quite sure about the participants. Okay, in terms of the impact of the digital technology to our practice, let me share with you what happened today, 2016, at our office. Nowadays, when I work with my team, all of them don't need to be face-to-face with me. we have an infrastructure which is not line, but Skype Business and other like EY connection. What happened is like when we have a project, we can set up a con call, but the con call not just audio, but include like if I have some material on my desk, the camera on my PC can capture that. Or I want to discuss with them on a presentation slide, I can upload and share that presentation slide with my colleagues. So when I flipped, they also see the slide page, the same page as I saw. That's one thing. And in the meantime, if they want to take over that presentation, I just throw the control over that presentation to them. And this technology also we share with our client as well. So in this means that we can work anytime. I'm not quite sure my staff like that. Okay, and but however, in terms of productivity, I think it increased because we not just rely on the audio version. That's what happened. Let's look far ahead into year 2020 or a little bit more. I think with the pace of technology now today, there might have some change on the way we perform our audit. Today, when we perform test of control, one of the terms that we use is sampling, right? Test of 25, test of 1. But with the speed of the current technology evolvement, test of control may be performed 100% in year 2020. How can we do that? In the past, we cannot because the record of the client is on the paper. And it takes time to rekey those. But nowadays, I do not think any company do not use accounting software. And the accounting software nowadays can have the feature to download data record. So when we can download the data record, we can use analytic tool to perform 100% testing. That's something that's gonna change. So what we look at is the audit standard may not change, but the way we do things will change. So the challenge is like for small firm or like medium-sized firm, how to compete in this kind of environment. And this is the area where association or organization like FAP or the government have to lend hands to help small and medium accounting firms to be able to compete and provide proper service to business.
Thank you. Wow. You said you tried to come up, but I think you come up with many bright things, right? As example, you can work anywhere or anytime. And also, Kun Sirirat said can work on the beach. That sounds good to me. Okay. So, but Dr. Yawalak, I think what you mentioned is a very good example. You talked about one of the big four, right? Big auditing firm. You talk as example of EY, and also you give the comment on the medium-sized firm. I think we should thank you for that, for mentioning that for some of us maybe in the medium-sized or smaller-sized firms, We need to understand what the big firm are doing and also how we're gonna, adapt or make improvement. Improvement is not only for us. We cannot compete with the big four, of course, but to serve the clients better. That I think it's very important. What about Kun Waruni? Can you share your idea on you think the advantages of the digital economy from based on two of the panelists that have discussed? I think that's give a lot of improvement and also the productivity. But from your point of view, what would be your idea?
Thank you. Digital economy brings so many advantages to the business, I think. At the company level, it increases the competitive advantage for the business to meet customer demands. I think, like, for example, nowadays, if you want to buy anything, you can do the online shopping, you can make the prompt pay, and like if you go to the booth that we set up today, go to PwC booth, you can download the book. And right now you can forward the publication to your friends because we know that as an accountant, you would like to get update all the time, study all the time. So that's why the advantage of having the digital device to help you improve and make the business broader and better. At the accounting department, I think it brings a lot of advantage to you to increase the efficiency and effectiveness of the process. When the digital economy comes, it's more automation, less human involvement. I think this is the same point as the two persons already talked. Less human involvement, less human error. But the good news is that automation will not take away all of your work. Right? You still be part of it, but we need people at the right skills with the digital economy, which we will talk later. What are the right skills for people in digital economy age? Okay. And another thing for the people who work in any companies, there is a study that it is good time to get the new generation to the companies, because when you recruit the new people, they will ask, what kind of technology are you using in the company? Are you still use the old style accounting, or is new style of accounting system already? So the Y generation or millennium generation expect to see the technology in the companies a lot. We talked before we come to the stage that we hope to see the accounting team close the account anywhere, right? Even we stay at home or by the beach, we can still do the closing of account. You don't have to stay late, but you get the account closed on time, right? That's the hope for the digital economy. More efficiency, more effectiveness, less human, better time for decision making by the management, right? Because you are more efficient, so you less time to do every transaction, but spend more time in planning, decision making for the business. So those are good for the business.
Seems like it's very, very good, have the good impact. And I'm just curious, you recruit new generation. What about the old generations? Does anyone consider themselves as old generation? We still keep the old generation, right?
Do other work.
Okay, so it's just a joke. Okay, all right. Here's come the educator. So you play a big part of, producing new generation. So what we have talked now, you think the educations are ready for this, and also what are the advantages that you think you see, and also you feel like the student must have this or must understand the advantages of this digital economy?
Yeah. Of course, yeah. Kun Sirat mentioned that we can work everywhere. The same thing for education, we can learn everywhere. And with technology, you said you can work everywhere. For me now, I think we can work every time, because even at night, as you get line, and then my boss will ask me to do work. So it seems like with technology, there should be so many advantages. So I think we use technology. And then we're not talking only our students, but how can we connect with alumni? So with the technology, we can have something that we call the lifelong learning, and we can have the e-courses. It's something that university can contribute not only for our, current students, but also our alumni. So you can see a lot of, e-courses that we provide, and there are a lot of technology. So, but the thing, we have so many choices of technology, and how can we, choose the correct one, so that we make sure that, we have more benefits compared to the cost we are going to pay. And then, so I think I would like to just summarize some of the advantages. So the first one, of course, we have more in services. And the other one is, we have significant cost saving. You can see a lot of the online shopping, many new ways of doing business. And sometimes it can generate a lot of revenues with less cost. So I think, you choose the right one for your business. Increasing more information sharing. We talk a lot about knowledge, management, knowledge sharing. So I think we can use technology to help. And then we should prepare our students to be more of the flexibility. Even new generation and even like less new generation like us. We have to also prepare and think like accounting should be more flexible. And in terms of, for education, let me just give you maybe two big examples that have changed a lot of the way we teach our students. And the first one is about Education 3.0. So we try to combine, education, the knowledge, and we add more for the skills. And then for accounting curriculum, for example, we are moving from content-based to the learning outcomes-based. So what our students, learn and be able to do after they finish the program, rather than what topics we have to cover. So we are focused on the learning outcomes. And then there we have a lot of skill. So it can be the knowledge and the skill within your discipline. So we call it technical skill, the competence. But we are talking about something beyond your knowledge. So it can be the soft skill, creativity, analytical skill, teamwork skill, and many others. And the other one, so now we're talking a lot about in terms of Education 3.0. So instructor now is acting as a resource guide, but the student, the learners, they have to control and then try to be a content producer by themselves, the way that we change. Using a lot of technology, for example, the social network, and then a lot of the web that they can serve by themselves also. But the key, how can we make sure that they get to the right avenue? Because there are so many. I think how can we teach them to have the skill to see this to be the right information, they don't to be the less informativeness, the informative information. And the other one is MOOC, that should be the last one. So now, when we talk about classroom, it can be like, for example, 50 students, maximum maybe 200 students, but now it's not. With the MOOC, it's online. So participants should be all people in the world. It's online, they call it the massive open online courses. Even for the degree, it can be within the university, but sometimes you can get them in the online degree. So I think a lot of opportunities, a lot of advantages that we can use to improve our accounting education. Yeah.
Thank you. So then the less new generation can actually go online and learn, study, do e-learning. For this question could be the risk or challenges of us as we are now, if we don't change or if we don't know what to prepare, or could be the technical risk. For example, like cloud computing, or some of the technical skills that we need to improve. Kun Sila, do you want to start?
Okay. The challenges that come with the digital technology, it comes with the digital generation. As you know, Generation Y, or what you call millennial, that they don't want to work 8 to 5. Especially they don't want to work after 5. You may know, yeah. And also, they would like to have work-life balance. That is very challenging for us, I think. And what are you going to do with them? They may become your staff, they may become your client. How are you going to do with this?
That's very important. We laugh because it sounds familiar, right? So I don't think anyone loves to work after 5, but actually we all do, right? For years and years. But the new generation, they don't.
They don't.
Yes, I think it's very important because we're talking about the new technology. We talk about the digital economy. We actually, like Kun Varuni said, we need the new generation also to actually make the improvement and make sure that, we actually stay, tuned on the new changes. So we need the new generations. So that's very, very good point that you raised. What about Dr. Yawalak? What do you think?
Okay. A moment ago, Dr. Nimran asked about what will happen to the old generation, right? I'm going to answer that one. Okay. By you guys attending this conference, you will become what I will call a renewed generation. Okay? Okay. The old saying said, the more you know, the more you fear. Right? Okay. But the renewed generation will say, the more I know, the more I will be better respond. Okay? That's the key concept. Knowledge is the key. Okay? But first of all, we have to overcome our fears of the technology. If you still want to be in your comfort zone, and you said that I could not understand the technology, you will never understand it. I have a belief in human being. If we have determination, we can do everything. Okay? That's about how we're going to develop our skill. From working with both renewed generation and old generation, I observed that the key skill that we should have in this new environment is the ability to comprehend. Comprehend on whatever you see in the environment, whatever you read, you have to be able to grasp, and the ability to adapt what you have seen, what you have read, before you speak. That's the key thing. In this case, means that you have to have the ability to research for interesting and relevant material. Because you are in the generation where the information is like, there's a lot of information available at your fingertips. We have passed the generation or the era where information is limited to only small circle of people. Nowadays, internet can find every information for you. Okay? So one of the key ability is how you gonna find the right information available on the internet. There are certain techniques that you have to learn, and practice is one thing. Okay? Learning from others is another thing. So like Dr. Grenkai said, even the academic try to change the curriculum, but learning is a continuing thing. You have to teach yourself also. So that's something that I think I would like to share.
Thank you. Oh, you talk about, it's very, very important words that I captured. Dr. Genkai, you talk about flexibility and now ability. We are able to do many, many things, but if we have fear, then we cannot do. So does anyone in this room feel like you fear of the technology? I'm one of you. You can raise your hand. You? One? Anyone? Oh, you're ready, right? I'm actually, I'm comfortable with this one. I can read, I have one, but I still need to bring a piece of paper. I don't know, it's just sitting here and make me feel very comfortable sitting right in front of you. So some of you may be fear, but as Dr. Yawalak said, to be able to do, we have ability, and the ability, it's not, we're not talking about, later we probably talk about, the technology skill, we talk about computer skill, we talk about different skill, but most important thing is your your mindset, your ability. You believe in yourself. I think that's very, very important, how you can move forward. Kun Varuni, what do you think? What do you think in terms of the risk or challenges that in your area, internal audit, what would be the risk that you facing or you have seen, either the new generation or the renewed generation or the old generation have been facing?
Thank you. As the preparer of the accounting system and the internal audit who does the audit on the systems, I think I would like to say that we are not fear of the technology, but we don't rely on them completely, okay? Because there's still risk and controls in those technology process. So I think what I just say about the advantage of having the digital economy can turn to be the risk to the business and turn to the process if we don't know what are the risks and we can manage them properly, right? For example, when we talk about it's good for the business to meet the customer demands, to be the competitive advantage. On the other hand, if there is a disruption of the digital technology, it can disrupt the business as well. If you rely on the online business, online shopping, but the technology is disrupted completely, how can you do the business? This is the risk that I can see. It's not the risk that you can manage. It can manage if you know them and know how to manage them. Set up the process properly. That means put the internal control adequately into the process. Those are one of the risks. In terms of efficiency and effectiveness, when we talk about human, that we can use less people in the process and rely more on the technology. I think we can still have to make sure that we put adequate controls into the process. Even it's processed by technology, the risk and control still exist in those processes, but it changed from people to technology. So in doing that, to mitigate the risk in this kind of digital technology, I think as the accounting or internal audit or the auditor have to understand the risk and controls of the process and make sure that you can implement them in the process effectively.
Thank you. Now it's your turn, Dr. Kriengkai.
Yeah, let me just, I think we are facing a lot of challenges and also risk. But let's just follow from some document, but I have from my own also. I think we know that, there are so many benefits from, adopting or using, the technology. But this, can be slowed down because of some obstacles. For example, we're talking about the implementation challenges because sometimes we have the good technology, but you are facing with about the implementation challenge. And the other one about people, because different environments, different countries, and then you have to deal with people also. Sometimes you have a very good system, but it doesn't work because people cannot change. So I think when we talk about skill, adaptability, very important. We already mentioned, I think, about understandability. Also very important also that we, in all generation people, we have to change. So I think, so what I wanted to add more on this side, what we have seen from our employers to our graduates, I think our students they have to change their perception also. Because before, like our generation, once we graduate, we like to go to a very firm companies, for example, Big Four, and then we would like to, work for a few years, at least 5 years, and we target to be the top management in that company. But I think you ask students, the Gen Y generation, they would like to be entrepreneur. Once they are graduate, they would like to just go to open their own business and entrepreneur. So I think this is should be an issue not only for Thailand, but for most of the countries, that our students will moving towards the soft skill, would like to be an entrepreneur, but they are lacking something like we call the hard skill. For example, the STEM education, science, technology, mathematics. So this is, we are worried. How can we balance and then we prepare our students? The other one is on the teachers. They also have to change their perception also, because they are in the new era, right? So they have to change themselves. Because when our students are ready for the new technologies, But yeah, we can say some instructors, they are not ready, and then they don't want to change. That should be the risk also about implementation. So I would like to just, stop here with, all the risks, it can be solved if we train our people in terms of the understandability, in terms of adaptability, flexibility, and many other skills. Thank you.
Can you come help us, think about some of the very important skills of the financial auditor, what they need, what they should have?
I'm gonna talk like a consultant, okay? It depends. Okay, if you are like 50-something, the skill needed maybe another set. But right now, if you like an accountant or a financial auditor with the age of like 25-something, the skill set will be another set, okay? The other thing that you have to consider is that, other than the age, is that what is the aim of your life? If you want to be in the career of like professional, the skill set will be driven by professional standards. By the professional standards, it's not avoidable that you have to embrace the digital technology knowledge, or else you're gonna be outdated, okay? So to understand what is the requirement of the skill, not to differentiate you, but just to sustain you in this professional, is that digital technology can replace anything that have rule. What I mean is that if the debit credit consideration can be coded in rule, the machine will do better than you. So the skill that you need will need to be better than what the machine can do. For example, if you said that to be able to perform the audit, first I have to identify what account is significant. I have to ask you back to calculate what account is significant or not to the financial statement. Is there a rule? If you say yes, then the machine can do better than you. So if you just can calculate and identify significant account, no. And right now, there's a software that can do this kind of thing already. But what left is that even though the software can come up that, okay, this based on the number, these are the significant accounts that we have to perform the audit. But in our heart, we know that sometimes to define a significant account, it also depends on non-monetary, what you call non-monetary value also, right? Because in terms of financial statement, the information that we have to consider significant imply that any information that may change the decision of key stakeholder. Soft information like this, the machine may not be able to do right now. But during my study under my PhD, I took one course called AI. I can train the machine to make the decision like human being. So this is the evolvement of the technology. However, to train a machine to think like us, it takes some time, maybe a year. So if we can kind of accumulate our knowledge and skill faster than programming and training the machine, we will survive, okay? So this is that's one thing. If there's a rule, if there's a way to train the machine, we will be replaced. So we have to looking for the area that we can do better than the machine, the soft side. Okay? The other rule is that to be, for industry to come up with the machine or the robot thing. Why is that? Because they want to overcome one issue, lack of qualified resource. To be able to develop qualified resource, if the cost is cheaper than build the machine, we also will survive. So whenever the cost of build a machine is cheaper than develop a human to be a qualified resource, we will in the danger situation, okay? So we have to understand this. And from my observation point of view, okay, I think relax, don't worry too much. Just ride the digital wave. Do whatever we can. Read of whatever come into our awareness. Think a bit, and you will be okay.
Thank you. Just ride the wave. It's coming, right? Just ride on it and just go along with it. I think that's one of the best suggestions that I have heard today. Kun Varuni, as an internal auditor, what are the skills that you see this, the new generation or even, the generation that's working in the firm right now should be having or should develop to have the one so then they can actually perform the good service for the clients?
Right. Yeah. I think the auditor or the system developer have to change as well. We have to be different from the machine. Right, make ourselves different from the machine. Otherwise, machine can work faster, machine can work 24 hours, but we can work only 8 to 5, not more than that, and work slower. If we don't differentiate, people will choose machine to work. Right. So for the skills, I'm thinking what we have to change. Actually, we start thinking to change already in these professions like internal audit or system developer. I think what are you thinking that machine can do it right now? I think first of all it's about the analytical skills because machine can gather the information for us, machine can store the information, can allow the access to the information. But what they can do right now is to analyze the information that they gather from all of the processes from everywhere in the organization. So we need to develop our analytical skills. Once we have the result from the analytical skill, then we should be the leader. What is the leader doing? The leader is the one who can make the decision, make the linkage to the strategic objectives of the business, right? And who can set up the good vision for the business. So we have to have that kind of soft skill to be the leader, to lead the change, drive the strategy of the business. That machine still can do it for us, right? To be the analytical skills, to have the leadership skills, then we have to be able to be the good communicator skills because machine can talk right now. Even machine talk is still not quite easy to understand or not good enough to communicate with people. You just say the keywords only. So for us, we have to be the presenter, talk more. Don't keep quiet like Kun Sirilas just mentioned. Traditional accounting, keep quiet. We are the listener. Now we change. We want to be the speaker, more spoken to people, to lead the change of the business and technology, think more. On the technical skills, I think in addition to understanding of the technology, I think the skills that we need right now is the understanding of the risk and controls. Whatever you are doing right now by using the technology or still man-made system, the process still exists. Risk and control always in the process. Whatever you're using right now, technology or people, you have to understand the risk and controls of the business and then put in place adequate controls to make sure that you will achieve your business objectives reasonably.
Thank you.
เศรษฐกิจดิจิทัลก็ถือว่าเป็นส่วนสำคัญนะคะที่มีการเปลี่ยนแปลงในเรื่องของระบบการทำงานโดยเฉพาะวิชาชีพบัญชีไทยทุกสาขาอาชีพก็ต้องการผู้ที่มีความรู้ความเชี่ยวชาญทักษะต่างๆรวมไปถึงความสามารถเรื่องของเทคโนโลยีสารสนเทศเพราะฉะนั้นอาชีพนี้ถือว่าเป็นอาชีพที่มีความสำคัญมีบทบาทในการสร้างการเจริญเติบโตให้กับทุกธุรกิจค่ะนี่คือทั้งหมดนะคะที่มาฝากกันในรายการ Money Forum คุณผู้ชมสามารถติดตามรายการย้อนหลังได้ที่ www.moneychannel.co.th ดิฉันสรวณีพรหมเสนและทีมงานขอลาไปก่อนสวัสดีค่ะ